if you're watching, just wait, wait a minute, and I will pop back on in a second. There we go. Okay. See, now it looks normal. Okay, cool. So, Coach Steph here. I don't know what happened. It's I think the timer started over. Anyway, like I said, the back end of how it looks to me looks different, and so I was gonna hop back off and then come back on, but it looks like it reversed itself. So, what's up, y'all? I am Coach Steph, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. I wanted to see what questions y'all have about weight loss or mindset. Typically, I go live in this group once a week at least, and I do a training or even an interview with another healthcare professional. So if y'all go to the events tab, I'm going to say this multiple times because I don't think that a lot of people know that this exists. And so if you go to the group, you go to the events tab and you go to past events. I have done a ton of trainings on how to start your weight loss journey, toxic mindset patterns that are holding you, like keeping you stuck, how to create effective workouts at home. We've talked about PCOS for you ladies that have that, and I interviewed Dr. Tiffany Brown and we talked about PCOS. I've done live interviews about diabetes and pre-diabetes and how to prevent that and manage your diabetes, about like building muscle. Recently we did one on weight gain, gaining muscle, knowing your numbers in your healthcare journey. So done a lot of trainings in the events tab in the group, and go to past events. There's a ton of information here from credentialed health professionals. I've done 2 interviews with therapists. So Tracy came on and did an interview with me on stress and stress management, which is a big thing that I know a lot of my clients struggle with. I also interviewed 2 other therapists about trauma and how traumatizing things that have happened in your life are affecting your life and your health journey. So that is a resource for you ladies that I think is a little bit underutilized. So if y'all don't know, go to the events tab, look in the past events and check that out. Now, I'm on today to answer any questions that you might have about weight loss or mindset. So what I kind of help my clients do is beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good. So if anything that I say resonates with you, you can check out, you can go to my profile, and I'll also link it somewhere. I should have linked it before, but if you go to my personal page and go to the link, you can see there, and you can look at the options that I have for coaching. But I help my clients beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good, right? And so we're really talking about like more than just a meal plan, more than just a workout, because most people know you should probably eat more veggies, you should probably drink more water, right? You already know that. You already know that you need to be active most days of the week. And there are free apps and free resources that you can get info on that. But we're still struggling, right? Why? It's because of the mindset. I had a coaching call today, actually, and we were talking about self-hatred and planting seeds of self-hatred, right? Hating our body and trying to create something beautiful out of a lot of self-hatred and a lot of negative self-talk and a lot of like self-disappointment, and it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't work long term when we're trying to fix ourselves because something is wrong, and we're not like trying to build a healthy body and love ourselves. We're trying to beat ourselves up because we don't like the way we look. So the mindset part is absolutely huge. Okay, so I see comments now. What's up, y'all? Hi, Paula. Hi, Ebony. Hi, Yolanda. Carmen. I need help. Need to tap in on managing diabetes. Yeah, what's your biggest struggle with that, Carmen? I know that I recorded a 2-part series on diabetes. I don't know if they're both in the events tab, but if you search the group for diabetes, I have 2 trainings. They're both an hour long. So I go from when you're diagnosed, what it actually means, um, knowing your numbers throughout the process, managing it. The part two is more like the nutrition side and like what you should be eating. So, yeah, it's a lot. If you want me to answer any questions specifically on this live, let me know though. I can't work out effectively due to iron deficiency and dizziness. I pass out if I do cardio. Everything makes me tired and useless. My body never gets used to exercise. I tried for more than a year persistently, but all I end up with is more doctor visits. What can I do to lose weight? I'm extremely obese and or extremely overweight in short. Okay, so I guess a few questions that I would have about that is it just anemia? Because that sounds like a little bit more like something else. I mean, in addition to that, like, is there another diagnosis? Is it just iron deficiency anemia? Is it very severe? Is that the reason why you pass out during cardio? Um, have you ever had like transfusions, like medically? Because I know, like, the cause of your deficiency anemia is very important, right? If your body just is not capable of producing the amount that you need, that's one thing, right? And so they would probably medically help you in that area. And then if your diet is really poor, that sounds a little bit more severe, like it's not just a diet thing. Um, have you had the same doctor? Do you go to the same doctor each time as well? Because it sounds like if you've been dealing with that for years, I would definitely try a few different doctors because that sounds a little extreme just for uh, anemia. But in terms of losing weight, like obviously you have to be safe, right? And so doing something like yoga or um, there are lots of like chair exercises if yoga is too much for you right now. Um, but doing what you can do. And so it's I want to get more into like the medical part. You can tell me a little bit more about that, but you can also it's a mindset part too because it's like, okay, what can you do, right? It's easy to focus on the things that maybe you can't do, but what can you do, right? Can you do chair exercises? Can you sit in a chair and lift, a few pounds? Can you walk, right? Can you um, do yoga or can you hula hoop? Can you dance, right? Like the things that you can do. And of course, controlling what goes into our mouth, right? Um, so focusing on those things could be very helpful. I would be interested again to hear more about your medical history. I had gastric bypass and I'm trying to lean out. I can't find anyone to help me with my diet due to my stomach size. The last part I don't understand. Um, Clarify that for me. I had gastric and I'm trying to lean out. I can't find anyone that will help me with my diet. Do you? So, if you had gastric bypass, like how recent is this? First of all, because I know sometimes like they put y'all on like a liquid diet and all that kind of stuff. When my stomach is smaller, they say I need to eat. I need to. So probably eat more often. Like so, when your stomach is smaller, right? You can't fit a whole lot of food in your stomach. Um, and typically, if you're eating, um, when you're eating anything, you have to be really careful to have like a balanced approach and a balanced meal, having some protein, having some fat, having some veggies. But depending on what's going on with you, because I've had some people who their surgeon told them not to eat any carbs, so I need a little bit more information. But I can't fit that much into my stomach. It was okay. How are you with liquids? When you drink liquids, because sometimes that's kind of about like a more balanced approach. You can fit, you can drink. something that has some carbs, that has some protein, and drinking the liquids might be a little bit easier for you, but you really may just have to eat more often. Like it might just be like every 2 to 3 hours you eating a little snack. Great. Meat is hard, but I need protein. Yeah. Yeah, I would say packing in the protein might be easiest if you drink it. Um, have you tried that? Let me know. Oh shoot, okay. I think I missed something. Hold on. Doctors only fed me ferrous sulfate and I'm on iron-rich diet. I have changed doctors. I've been dealing with this for far too many years, from early 20s. I'm in my early 30s. I have been tested for other stuff too. No diabetes, no blood pressure. Nothing has been diagnosed. That is really frustrating and very, very strange. So now whenever you work out, so have they given you any advice on your nutrition? Because I see they have you on an iron-rich diet, but as far as like calories, if you are wanting to lose weight, one, I can tell you focusing on protein, right? Which if you're a meat eater, you should probably be doing anyway if you're trying to eat iron-rich diet. But focusing on protein, focusing on fresh veggies, drinking plenty of water. And this is for neon. I'm talking about neon. Sorry. And focusing on exercises that you can do. Sorry, y'all. I think I skipped around a little bit. Okay. How can I contact you? You can go to my page and click on the link in my profile, and you can contact me there, or you can just DM me if you have a specific question. It's kind of difficult with some of the things that y'all are asking me. It's a little bit more difficult. I need like more information. But yeah, you can definitely reach out. Yeah. Any questions, y'all, about weight loss? I hope that was helpful, Neon. So focusing on protein, focusing on veggies, focusing on the activities that you can do. If you can walk, if you can do yoga, if you can do like chair exercises or like standing type of exercises, or strength training while sitting in a chair or something like that. Hi, China. What other questions do y'all have about weight loss and mindset, ladies? One thing that I'll just tell you, I've been building some curriculum for my clients, discussing the fact that life is still happening while you're trying to get your weight loss goals, right? And so what happens so many times is like somebody will get sick, or there will be a death in the family, or maybe your car breaks down, or you get fired from your job in the midst of you trying to prioritize and focus on yourself and on your health. And we end up putting our health on the back burner in order to like put out a fire real quick, and then we'll come back to it like months later and be like, dang, I have to start all over again. And really trying to get people to realize that like this never stops. And so if you're in a crazy season in your life where you're like, dang, I just can't, it's hard for me to focus on my health because there's crazy stuff going on, I'm very inconsistent, pick a bare minimum, like a bare minimum base thing that you can wrap your brain around, that's actually very, very, very simple, that you can say, even when life is crazy, even when there's uncontrollable things going on around me, I'm going to pick one or two things that I'm going to do consistently, and it might be super duper simple. But at least for your brain, you can get some evidence in your brain that, hey, yes, you can be consistent, that your health is never on the back burner. And if there is no stopping and starting. There's a common misconception like, oh, I'm going to start over on Monday. But there's nothing that you can do on Monday that you can't do on the Thursday before that day, right? Like, that is the self-sabotage. Starting over on Monday, y'all, is the self-sabotage. That's it. So when you hear yourself saying that, oh, I blew my diet, let me start over on Monday, understand that Coach Steph said that that's self-sabotage. And what you do, you snap yourself right out of that. What's the next thing that I can do to get closer to my goals? That might be taking a walk. That might be putting on some music and doing a little dance party with yourself, getting some movement in. Right? What's the very next thing? You don't have to know everything in your journey. So many times when we start anything, whether it be a job, a health journey, we want to know every single solitary step. We don't have to, especially when life gets crazy. Just say, what's the very next thing I need to do? What's the very next step that I can take, right? It could be very, very small. And it should be very, very small. Let's see. I've learned that. Start today. Exactly, Andrea. Start today. You don't want to wait, because why? The future is fake, y'all. The future is a figment of our imagination. It never comes. All we ever have is right now. The future always becomes right now. So if we can say right now, I'm going to make the best decision that I can in order to reach my health goals, that's all you have to know. If you can say that right now, you don't have to have anxiety about the future. You don't have to think, oh my God, I may not be consistent. The future is fake. Don't even worry about it. Worry about right now, and that future will become now. And if you can say in this moment right now, I want to live my best life, I'm going to make healthy choices for myself, that's all you have to worry about. No more worrying about if you're consistent, if you will be consistent in the future. Okay, so I've struggled to lose weight for years. I've tried diet pills, even HCG injections. But one thing I have never done is commit to taking time for myself to work out. Oh, I'm a nurse practitioner, mother, wife, and many other things, but I've never been fit. But at first I decided I'm putting myself first, and I'm losing weight and feeling better. Mentally and physically, I haven't put anything ahead of my period. You're not putting anything ahead of that, because if you don't have you, then you can't be the mother, the wife, the nurse practitioner, right? We have to prioritize it. And so one of the biggest things that gets left out of the conversation, we're talking about building a new lifestyle in weight loss, is boundaries. You setting boundaries around your kids and saying, hey, this is mommy's like workout time. Not only workout time, but this is my self-care time. This is the time that mommy needs to just be alone for a little bit and let me journal, right? Let me sing, let me meditate. Like, your kids also need to see you working on your mental health, so they know kind of what that looks like. And setting boundaries around that, setting boundaries around your job. Say, hey, you know what? I can't always say yes when you ask me to stay extra, right? I have something planned. You don't have to say like I have a workout plan. You just have to say, you know, I actually can't. I have another appointment, and you do with yourself at the gym, right? And so especially when it comes to being a mom, sometimes it's difficult to like set those boundaries, but our kids need to see us setting those boundaries. So good for you. Maybe we have to wait until I have lots of money, but most of the doctors were only willing to do the bare minimum. I will have to pay for a special health plan so that I can have a trainer and dietitian and nutritionist all under one roof. Thank you so much for your time and your assistance. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the healthcare system with insurance and all that is just crazy. It's not set up for us to win at all. And so that's another reason. I think I did a live recently about knowing your numbers. And I think I talk about this a lot too, of just like making sure that you know, like if they give you a diagnosis, if they give you labs, if they run a test, like you know what they're talking about, right? Because sometimes people will be like, oh, well, they told me that all my labs were fine. I was like, no, you need a printout of your own stuff. You can go and Google what the abbreviations and all that mean. Because unfortunately, if you're dealing with doctors, and I don't know, Neon, if you've ever seen like a naturopathic doctor, but I do know, if you're still watching, Tiffany Brown in this group is a naturopathic doctor. She's the one that I did the interview with PCOS. And sometimes you might have to try that, right? You might have to go the alternative route and not go to like the doctor who practices Western medicine. Maybe you need to go to a naturopathic doctor who kind of deals with people holistically. So that might be an option for you as well. Because doctors, a lot of times, they don't have a lot of time. And then they don't really give you the best care. And that's really unfortunate. Like, super unfortunate. I also had to get my anxiety and depression under control. I didn't want to take meds, but now that I'm on medication, I can actually focus and move forward. Anxiety and depression will have you chasing. Yes, so let me tell you something. Most of the women, okay, I've coached dozens of women. Most of the women, I would say, either have been to therapy or have a therapist or are on medication for anxiety or depression, or need to be on medication for anxiety or depression. It's so pervasive, it's not even funny. And so whatever you need to do to make yourself feel better so that you can function as a a normal human being and feel the way that you want to feel, I say go for it. Life is so short. I mean, I also have anxiety as well. I'm probably one of the ones that needs to be on medication as well. But I think that with Black women, I coach mostly Black women. We deal with this a lot. Like almost everybody, almost every person that I coach has had some issue with either anxiety or depression or both. Almost all. So you're not the only one by any means. Uh-oh. Hi, cousin. Tips for losing weight with PCOS. I missed the live you did about that. So, do you have PCOS, Jonah? I didn't know that. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not an expert on PCOS. However, I do know that they put a lot of people on metformin, and a lot of women can be carb sensitive. So the women that I have coached with PCOS, like every person is a little bit different. And so with carbohydrate counting, you want to just make sure you're always pairing carbohydrates with protein, right? So if you eat a piece of bread, right, like a piece of toast in the morning, you want to have some eggs, or you want to have like some Greek yogurt or something like that, to always eat it with protein. Now that's something that I tell everyone as well, because that's just a general tip, but especially for people who might be carb sensitive, you want to make sure you're pairing your carbohydrates with protein. You want to make sure you're eating at a regular interval, right? And so you may not always need to eat like a carb food at every meal, but for sure, like breakfast and lunch and dinner, protein, size of your palm, protein, and some veggies. And eating lots of non-starchy vegetables. Okay, eating lots of non-starchy vegetables, avoiding drinking your calories. You should be drinking water most of the time. And I know some people don't really like that, but it's so easy to drink like way too many calories. So Jonna, tell me more about what do you feel like you're struggling with in terms of your food? Like, what are the things that you already know that you can change in regards to what you're eating? Because a lot of times we want to know more tips, right? But we really have to master what we already know, right? Because otherwise it just gets overwhelming. It's just like a whole bunch of information that we know, but that we're not actually implementing. So look at where you know that you can do better, right? Are you eating too much fast food? Or are you are you skipping a lot of meals? Or do you binge eat? Do you emotionally eat? Like, where is it that you can kind of do an audit of your, like, where you're at right now, your activity level too? Like, are you moving at least 30 minutes a day? Are you working out most days of the week, right? Um, and doing an audit and starting there and starting with what you already know to do, um, and do that, and then learning more tips. Um, Thank you for this. Oh, you're welcome. I have a fast food door to. Oh, let me tell you. One of the first things that we do in my program is detox your kitchen and help your home to be a safe environment, right? Your home needs to be a safe environment. Your environment makes a huge difference in your success and in your affinity to choose things that are going to serve your goals. So the first thing that we do, detox your kitchen, right? And that includes getting rid of DoorDash on your phone. That includes getting rid of Uber Eats and all those little things that make it more convenient. So the idea is to make it more convenient for you to grab that apple on the counter versus making it harder for you to get the cookie that is usually there, right? So you want to make it more convenient to do the things that are going to serve your goals and more inconvenient for the things that are not going to serve your goals. So you want to make it just a little bit harder. Even if you can technically go on DoorDash.com, you know how people are, right? It's just like our natural way, like, okay, if it's an app, okay, let me just do this real quick, boom, boom, right? But if it takes you a little like one extra step, it's kind of like a barrier. So you want to put as many barriers in between you doing the thing that doesn't serve your goals, and you want to make it so easy just to, oh, okay, my workout clothes are already picked out. Let me just put them on and go to the gym, right? So yeah, make your home a safe environment. Okay, so because school started, I skipped meals, mainly breakfast and lunch, trying to learn what foods I should be eating. It's kind of difficult when other people go to the grocery shopping and I want to eat the snacks and fried food every day. Yes, so here's the thing. It's really about structure, Jonna. You have to decide ahead of time that you're going to make good choices. You have to put a plan. You see this pen? You need a pen, okay? And a piece of paper and write down, what am I going to have this week to eat, right? And so coordinate with whoever is buying the groceries, right? And say, okay, this is really important to me. I'd really like to have X, Y, and Z for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, the way that I encourage my clients to do it is pick no more than 2 days worth of meals, at 3 at the max, right? But one set of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and rotate those two throughout the week. Then, once they get into the habit of that, we pick a treat meal, one treat meal that you get to plan into your week. But having that system of every week, maybe on Saturday, you decide what you're going to have to eat. Make it very, very simple. Not a whole lot of ingredients. Very, very simple. Decide what you're going to have it written down. And then having your own boundaries with yourself. So if you have a lot of temptation around you, right, you have to get really solid with your own boundaries and your own reason why this is important to you. Because if you think about it, if you say, okay, there's fried food here, but I really want to feel better. I want to be more confident. I want to, live longer. I want a better quality of life. I want to love my body. This fried food really it's not an equal exchange, right? You eating that is not more important than your actual goal. So in the times when you're feeling tempted, are you leaning on your why? Are you leaning on the real reason why you want your goal? Are you even thinking about it? Right? And so you can do some self-coaching. Talk to your own brain and tell your brain, actually, this craving that I'm having for this fried food because it's there is temporary and it's not more important than my goals. And sometimes it's important to just take a pen and go and write out your goals, why this is not worth it. And then go and eat something that is going to serve your goals, some protein, some, a piece of fruit, for protein and a piece of fruit or whatever you have, right? So that you don't have like a super hungry stomach and trying to like get away from temptation, but also just so you can think a little bit clearer, because sometimes when we're super duper hungry, we're not really thinking like that clear, like our body is just hungry. So make sure you're not super hungry and lean into why it's important. This temporary craving is not more important than you feeling good about your body. It's not more important than your long-term goals. And if you start thinking about that and leaning into that, I think you'll make the right decision. Let's see. Plan. Yes, I need a plan. Meal prep and detox my kitchen. Also, like the plan the cheat meal. I can do this. Yes, you can. And here's the thing about that. And I love, I really love this concept of having the treat meal. And I say treat, not cheat, because no one wants to just always eat like super perfect, right? You are in control of the decisions that you make and what you put in your mouth. This isn't like happening to you, like something fell on you and this is happening. No, you are making the decision, right? So you get to make the decision whether or not you binge eat or whether or not you eat the fried chicken instead of eating your meal prep. You get to decide. So own that, like own your own power, first of all. Then you get to say, I'm going to take my power and I'm going to choose when I'm going to have that fried chicken. I'm not just going to have it because it's there. I'm going to choose, and I'm going to put myself in a powerful position to say, I'm going to have this Friday at happy hour at 5 p.m. with my friends because that's what I'm going to do. That's what I decided. And stick to it. That's how you start confiding in yourself. Can you trust yourself? When you say, I'm going to do something, do you actually follow through with it? Because a lot of times we're scared that we're not going to be consistent because we've broken promises to ourselves over and over again. We don't even trust ourselves. You don't trust you. You can't confide in you. That's why you don't have confidence, right? The root word of confidence is confide. You can't confide in yourself because you've broken promises. So this whole relationship, your health journey is really about your relationship with you. And that's what I get my clients to understand, is that this ain't about the meal plan and it really ain't about the workout. It's about you keeping your word to you and you trusting yourself, you accepting yourself and building a life and a body out of self-love instead of self-hatred, right? It's about your self-worthiness. It's about you setting boundaries with you and then being comfortable enough to set them with other people, right? So it's so frustrating to plan for me because I plan and then the next day my arthritis or fibromyalgia or diverticulitis makes it difficult to even get out of bed. So how can you give yourself grace, right? If you're dealing with like literal disease processes, how can you give yourself grace in those moments? How can you have a plan B, right? It's not like you failed, right? So don't get frustrated. Have compassion for your body. You set a plan, you're gonna go work out, but you have arthritis and that's really bothering you, right? Like how can you have compassion for your body? Because your body is working for you, right? But it's in pain. So just have some compassion for yourself and then just, go when you feel better, right? But what you can control is still what we put in our mouth. So maybe during the times where you can't move a lot because of your arthritis, maybe you're really conscious about what you put in your mouth. I'm so tired of being overweight. It's holding me back and causing health issues. I'm so tired. Yeah. And so what I tell people, I want you to be so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you really make a commitment to doing something about it. And the thing about it is, you're here to be sick and tired. Because in our community, sometimes, we don't have the best prognosis. So while you are still here and you still have control over what you put in your body and how often you move, let's do something about it. I always get emotional when I start talking about that, but you have the power to make the changes. A little bit every day. It doesn't take you doing a million things. A little bit every day consistently. You doing something consistently every day, something small, is way better than you trying to do 10 things at one time and only doing it twice a week. Right? Is this helping me reach my why? Is a temporary fix going to serve long term? Is that... So those are questions that you can ask yourself, right? Is this helping me reach my why? And is this temporary fix going to serve me long term? Yes. Start talking to yourself positively. Yes, exactly. I love that. You can coach yourself. And that's one of the things that I actually teach my clients is you coaching yourself. And it's a whole model where you can actually coach yourself and it connects you a lot better to yourself. Can you trust yourself? That's a word. Yes, a whole word. Control and confidence. Yes, self-love and worthiness. Awesome. Thank you. Why do I want to cry? Gosh. Yes. Let me tell you, I'd be so embarrassed because I'd be crying. I had a call today and I just boo-hooed. Just because of what she was telling me that she thinks about herself. I was just like, I was so sad and so hurt for her that she would say that about herself. And so, yeah, I mean, this is a definite passion of mine for sure. But when something resonates with you, it's because there's a knowing within you that like truth recognizes truth, right? Like you recognize that vibration, you recognize that energy. Because you know it, because it's a truth that's like resonating. So I love that. I'm glad that it is resonating for you. Treat yourself like you're worthy. Absolutely. One day at a time. Preach. Yes. Baby steps. Exactly. We're going to church today. Any other questions, ladies, about weight loss and about mindset? If y'all are watching, check out the links in my profile. If y'all go to my page, my personal page, and click the link in my profile, I have some coaching available and some awesome opportunities for you there, so you can check that out. But yeah, what I want to really bring home to you is this, and I said this a little bit earlier. It's not the meal plan and the workout. You already know that. You can get that on for free. They'll tell you exactly what to eat, and they'll tell you exactly, the workouts to do. This is about your relationship with you. How are you relating to yourself? How are you loving and caring on yourself? How are you giving yourself self-compassion? One of the greatest exercises, and I actually was talking about this today with someone on a call, looking in the mirror and telling yourself and affirming yourself, right? We say so many negative things about ourselves. We are planting seeds of hatred and expecting to grow confidence and to grow, consistency and expecting to grow this beautiful body out of these seeds of hatred. And we're like working out and we're doing all these things. We're restricting our food and we're cutting out carbs because we hate our body so much. And we think that we're going to grow a positive result out of seeds of hatred. It just doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. Oh. Trying to get back to these comments. Hold on. Thank you. How do I feel about intermittent fasting? So there's some feeding windows that I've seen that seem pretty reasonable. You should be sleeping 8 hours, right? And then there are certain windows that I've seen that I'm like, okay, I can see how that is going. But the thing is this, the diet is just the tool of manipulation. It doesn't matter what diet you go on. All of the diets work. The question is, why are you choosing that diet? Can you do it long term? Because anything that you do temporarily is going to give you temporary results. And is it something that you even enjoy? Do you like skipping breakfast? Like, is that what you want to do for the rest of your life? So you have to think about that, right? And then as a dietitian, I also be thinking about like, okay, so you're cutting out a whole meal time to lose weight, but what about all the nutrients that you're missing? Um, I would think that you would really, really have to be super intentional about like getting enough protein, getting enough iron, getting enough calcium, getting enough magnesium, and that your the foods that you do eat need to be really calorie dense because people struggle to get all their micronutrients and everything, even eating three meals a day because of the food that they're selecting. So you really want to make sure that you're eating nutrient dense foods. And here's a secret about nutrient dense foods: single ingredient foods, right? So I'm talking about just like an avocado or an apple or um, you know chicken or salmon fillet, or just like those single ingredient very simple foods. You can eat so much more food calorie wise, right, than eating like out. So for example, if you go to a restaurant, man, if you look at the calories, even when the portions aren't huge, there's so many more calories in the food because there's extra stuff in there, right? They want the food to taste really good. There's so much extra stuff in there. If you just made that same thing at home, you could eat the same thing, but you can eat so much more food. I teach people to create a fit figure formula. I don't give out meal plans. I hate making meal plans for other people, especially because you know what you like to eat. I don't. So I teach my clients how to build their own plan, right? Called the fit figure formula. And it's so much food. And they're like, wait a minute, how am I eating this much food? Yes, it's a lot of food. Why? Because you can eat single ingredient foods and you can eat so much more volume wise than you can when you're eating smaller volume, very calorie dense foods. So back to your question, intermittent fasting. I think it's okay. It's just a tool, right? You still have to work on your mindset, right? You still have to do it consistently. That's mindset, that's self-trust, right? You still have to have a system. You still have to create some boundaries. You still need to be eating nutrient dense foods. I wouldn't say that it's a great idea if you just want to, oh, let me just skip breakfast, but you're eating like garbage for for lunch and dinner. Not a good idea. Right? And so sometimes when we're using a tool, any tool, to skip the journey, when we skip the journey, we actually are missing out on who we are becoming along the journey. That's the most important part. You want to be the person that can create the result. That's it. That's your job. To become the person that can create that result, which means that you cannot skip the journey. Like if you want to keep the result, right? You can't skip the journey. So like for example, when people get lipo, which if you want to get lipo, that's your business. I'm not judging, but I'm saying that when you do that, if you skip the journey, or maybe you did a really restrictive diet and you cut weight really quickly. Now you're at this scale weight and you have not built the habits that you need, right? You're not going to be able to sustain that restrictive diet. So you haven't learned about your food choices. You haven't learned along the way like what works for you and what doesn't. Right? You miss so much when you skip the journey. Part of that is you're skipping who you're becoming along the way. And there's a lot of value in not skipping the journey. So it can work, but you got to like your reasons. You got to make sure that you're doing it as a lifestyle and that you're still learning about nutrition. You're still eating nutrient dense foods. So I hope that answered your question. That was like a long-winded. Yeah, okay. You're welcome. Any other questions, ladies? I just thought I would pop on really quickly. For those of you that are watching, there are a ton of trainings in the events tab of the group. A lot of people don't know that. You go to the events tab in the group. I have done over 30 plus trainings on nutrition, fitness, mindset, and interviews with Dr. Tiffany Brown about PCOS, therapist Tracy about stress and stress management and ways to decrease your stress. I talked to 2 therapists about trauma. I talked to another dietitian, which, y'all, there's only 2% dietitians in the United States. I mean, 2% black women dietitians, right? I don't even know if there's any black men. There might be some black men dietitians, maybe, but it's like super, super slim. But I, myself and Joy Diggs, another dietitian who's in this group, her and I did a live together. Who else have I had on? I had a holistic coach come on, Alicia. That was maybe a month or so ago. Yeah, I have done multiple interviews, and there's a lot of great information in the events tab of this group from credentialed healthcare professionals, y'all. Let's see. Yes, Kim. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people. So, if y'all need anything, let me know. I've been on here for about 45 minutes. I'm glad that a few of y'all were able to pop on because I know that this wasn't like a planned thing, but I wanted to just come on and answer some questions for y'all. So, again, if you want to reach me, hit me up in my profile. You can click the link in my profile and, inquire about coaching. So, yeah, if there's no other questions, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to go and pick up my babies from school in a little bit. So I hope you'll have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.